Howdy, howdy, people.
All of a sudden, my camera stopped working. Cowboy sang.
Oh, really? Just like I feel like we're teaching online again.
Yeah, that's what the reference was for.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking good, Alex. I like your setup. I like your headphones.
Oh, thank you. Oh, the hair is so good looking today.
The hair or the lack thereof, right?
Yeah, all right.
Every day's a good hair day when you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Well, I have to shave it,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I was thinking about it. I don't know. I might, but I don't think I can pull it
Oh,
off like you.
this might be shocking to the people all around, who used to see you with hair, and then all of a sudden you come bareheaded.
Yeah, yeah. It's
You
kind
have
of a
to
shock.
have it in your head, like live with it, sleep with it for a year at least. Well, that's the way I did it in my
Yeah,
head.
yeah. Well, that's good. You never know how you look until you try it. So
Yeah.
maybe I will.
Well, I think you should not.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, Trev's trying to, it's almost 9. Like we should have about besides me, 16 teachers. So
Okay.
hopefully most of them come. I don't know. Can you guys hear me okay? I think the sound quality with AirPods is not the best.
I oh, well, I can hear you. At least we can communicate. So
Yeah, we can hear you just fine, I think.
Oh, okay.
progress.
Sometimes when I've heard AirPod audio, it sounds staticky. So if there's any time when I cut out, just let me know. Yeah.
No, it's fine. Is it like a
Uh,
common thing that students in all over Vietnam right now are having midterm tests in all of the schools?
I believe so. Mine were last week. I don't know about you guys. Are your days off this week, or did you already
Yeah,
have any?
that's what I had in my mind. Like probably you have arranged all this situation only because of the tests, and the teachers mostly are free.
So like as so I think my school has midterms this week, but I don't know if that means I go in or not. I don't actually know.
No,
Oh,
you
you should.
just
Yeah, you would have that off. Yeah.
Yeah, because I haven't been told yet if I'm gonna go in this week or not. So like
Uh,
this afternoon, should I just go into like school as usual, I guess?
oh no, Kyle. If they told you there were midterms, then they should have said,
uh,
you have the class off, unless it's like speaking tests, which they would have given you instructions on how to do like speaking tests with your students.
or an
Okay.
email.
Yeah.
Well, I know that the only reason I know that there's midterms this week is because the students told me. So
Yeah, that'll happen. So when students tell me that, I'll like message my QC person, and then they will double check and then send you like the updated schedule.
okay, I'll just send my QC person a little message real quick then just to double check.
Yeah, you should have Pax or Swan, right? I would message him, and he'll get back to you.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna do that
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, just let me wait a couple more minutes. Did anybody do anything spooky for Halloween? Any Halloween costumes? Anything exciting?
No, just watching all this stuff, the lack of the better word, online.
Oh, the uh international affairs, we'll say, right?
Not doing it personally, not my gig.
Yeah, yeah. How many people are here? We have. It's kind of funny doing online stuff. I feel like I'm having some PTSD from the COVID time.
Don't you teach online? I still teach online.
Still, no, I currently don't have any online classes, thank God.
Oh,
Luckily.
lucky one.
Yeah. Okay, just waiting a few seconds. I'll go ahead and show the agenda. I just want to thank everybody for coming. I know it's not super exciting to spend, a couple hours online learning about work stuff when you could be sleeping in and maybe planning for other things. But I'm fortunate enough to have you guys here. I just do a little bit of classroom management specifically for high school, which I think is good for all of us. We will have like a little icebreaker. And then the training is going to be in 3 categories. So rules and rewards, increasing student engagement, and then trying to focus on some engaging activities. I've budgeted about 30 minutes for each of the 3 main topics. They could go longer or go shorter. It just depends on you guys. So if you have any questions or you're not understanding something or want more help, just feel free to type out or just go ahead and ask. I forget with Zoom, you can like raise your hand. I guess if you need to raise your hand, you can do that, but feel free to say anything anytime. I really want to engage you guys to discuss. I want to share some tips, but also I think everybody here has good tips. So don't, yeah, Alex raised his hand, good.
I'm testing.
Testing is working.
Testing.
Yeah. Don't hesitate to reach out or ask, please, please, please. Does anybody have any questions on this?
No, it's okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
fine.
okay. To keep on track, let's start with an icebreaker. Now, it's Halloween time, so this whole month I've been doing strictly Halloween activities for like every single class. I just think it's fun and makes teaching more fun for me. So I have some Halloween riddles. If you know the answer to the riddle, you can call out or raise your hand or type. But I want the person who answers it to answer it. And then at the end, you're going to pick a trick or a treat and go from there. So as an example, here I have witch and werewolf. These are either a trick or a treat. So first you have to answer this riddle. So if you know, raise your hand or say it. The riddle is darkness, dust, cobwebs, and creaking floors. Secrets, spirits, strange noises, and occasional slamming doors. What am I?
Haunted house.
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle, you got it. It's a haunted house. Good. Now you get to pick either a witch or werewolf.
Let's go with witch.
Okay, so you got a trick. So, can you tell us what's your biggest flaw?
I would say that my biggest flaw would be, I think I can get too nervous sometimes in the lead up to something.
Oh yeah.
When the thing actually happens, like say a trip or my first day at work or certain important events, usually I'll get very nervous beforehand. And then
Yes.
I find that when I actually do the event, when I actually do the thing, it's actually not a problem at all. And so it's like I should know by now not to be so nervous in the lead up because it always goes well. And yet somehow every time.
We do it to ourselves. I'm the same way. I'm a very like anxious type of person. So I totally get that. Thank you for being honest and sharing that with us. Okay, the next one. So in this place, people lie and people cry. Here the people ask why. In this place, the people sleep and the people weep. People solitude they keep. What is this place? And you can also type or raise your hand. Here,
Madhouse.
a madhouse could be, specifically when I think of lie, meaning lie down.
Crypt.
Oh,
Alex, you're close. I'll give it.
Cemetery. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a cemetery or
cemetery.
graveyard.
Nice one.
Yeah. Madhouse is good though. I like Madhouse. What Alex do you choose? Do you choose ghost or ghoul?
Can we go back to witch?
Sure. No, there's no witch. Sorry.
Oh no.
It's
Well,
taken.
no. Okay, let it be ghost.
Ghost.
Okay,
All right. Okay, you got another trick. What's your worst school memory?
Oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
You
The
can always
first-
lie. It doesn't have to be
No,
true,
no,
I guess,
no,
you know.
no. It's absolutely true story. The first and the only time I was trying to skip classes, I got caught by my mom. And she brought me back to school in front of the class. That was the PE lesson. And she scolded me in front of, that was the 10th grade, you know, that was high school. And I was like, yeah, that was the
So
worst
embarrassing. That's pretty
Yeah.
embarrassing.
memory.
I guess because you said yours, I'll say mine. I was pooped on by a bird in front
Oh.
of everybody at school. It was very embarrassing, very sad. Thank you, thank you for sharing, Alex. Okay, this is kind of tricky. Why don't mummies take vacations?
Because
Probably
they're
because
wrapped- they're wrapped up. They're wrapped up in a as a mummy, you know. So
Okay.
they're like in they are in a coffin.
I'm gonna go with the first part, Evie. You said they're wrapped up. So here, if we say like they're afraid they'll unwind, meaning unwind the bandages,
Oh,
or
yeah,
unwind
relax.
is a synonym
Relax.
for relax. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I might say like
nice.
they're too wrapped up, meaning they're too busy, would be a good another like idiom, I guess, idiomatic language. All right,
Yeah.
Evie, so can you choose either Chupacabra or the Loch Ness Monster?
Loch Ness Monster, I guess. Loch Ness Monster.
Okay, so you get a treat. What was the best birthday gift you ever received?
Best birthday gift. I guess it was like not to be too materialistic, but I would say money.
Okay, yeah.
No, I think it was some kind of electric guitar. I play guitar and I received a electric guitar, my dream guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 14.
That sounds like a pretty big gift and pretty exciting. So that sounds
Yeah.
good gift. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Evie. Okay. What's a ghost's favorite dessert? This is kind of a play on words. It's John.
I believe it's Hungarian. Goulash.
Okay, that is really, really good. So I don't know how you spell it. Goulash, like that. It's good. It's not goulash, but that is really good. I'm gonna give a hint. Think of the fruit blueberry. How could you turn it into something scary?
Blood.
No.
Blueberry jam.
No.
Oh,
Igor got it. Yeah, I saw Igor typed it. Oh no, I did it. Oh my gosh. See, that's what happens when I don't review before I do it. That was a different one. Ice cream. That was my fault. I totally confused two of them. But how about Igor? Because you typed blueberry, and that's what I was thinking. Do you want Mummy or Frankenstein? Okay, Mummy. So, Igor, what is the worst dessert? What dessert do you dislike? Vietnamese cheesecake. Igor, does your microphone work or no? I don't know if I've had Vietnamese cheesecake.
You were so lucky not to have it. Trust me.
Really?
Yeah.
Igor, you're sick. Okay, no worries. Okay. I'm trying to think. Maybe it's bad. I don't know. Okay. So I think now the last one was what's a ghost's favorite fruit? And that was the blueberry. So that's why I was mistaken. John, since you were answered on the last one, do you want to pick chocolate or sour candy?
Sour candy.
Okay, so okay, now what do you think is the worst fruit?
Again, the two choices didn't hear you clearly first time.
What was that? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I couldn't hear you the first time about which fruit should I choose.
Just for you, what do you think is the worst fruit? What fruit do you not like?
Rock melon.
Rock melon?
Is that?
I've never heard of that.
Me too.
What, can you describe what it is?
It's a kind of melon. It's orange in the inside, just with a bit of a musky flavor. I've never been a fan of it.
Is it native to Australia?
I thought it was a popular fruit. I didn't know it was.
Oh,
But I was just never into it. Rock
Right.
melon. I'll see if I can get the picture.
yeah. Oh, so I see Valeria. Oh, okay. I don't know the name. Oh, is it cantaloupe?
Yeah, it's cantaloupe.
I
Yeah.
think it is.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm actually not a big fan of cantaloupe either. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, you call it cantaloupe. I don't know. I wasn't sure what cantaloupe was.
that's how the language works. There will be many different ways to say one thing. So now you've taught me something, so that's great.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, John. So, this is like a warm-up I would use in class too. I think it's fun to do something like with riddles, but then adding another element of like, okay, then something further like trick or treat. So if you guys like this, I love using riddles and stuff like that in class. So hopefully you guys like that.
Same.
What was that?
Same, I also love. And my students sometimes ask me about Bamboozle.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty nice. Or Twinkle games like that.
Yeah, those are both good things. So in the third topic, we'll go over more games. So feel free to like share. We'll share some more. Okay, so this first topic, just want to go over some class rules and reward systems. Yeah. So one thing with rules, obviously the importance, we want to set expectations. They should be easy to understand, they should be fair, and they should enhance learning. Now, here I have a bunch of rules, and I just want to ask you guys, are these rules clear and consistent? Like, do your best, no talking, listen to the teacher, love to learn. What would you guys say about these types of rules?
To
I
be
would
honest,
say
if I
that-
was, oh, sorry, John. Go ahead, John.
No, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
All right, you will go after me, okay? Thank you, man. So basically, I think that if you give some rules like this to a teenager, who is like in his 16 or 17-year old, uh, I would say that he would feel like he's going back to primary school because I mean, the rules themselves are very simple and basic that they think they already acquired, and they know that they should do that. They should not even be mentioned. Um, that's what I think.
Okay, so maybe they seem for like young learners and they already expect these. Um, does anybody else have anything about these rules?
Would add one more.
Sure.
Just to be respectful. I think this just encompasses
I
everything.
agree. When they're 17 years old, they already know that they have to keep quiet during the class, but be respectful to the teacher, and the teacher should be respectful to them as well.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing I wanted to say is that I think some of these rules, I mean, they seem like
Yeah,
already
Mom.
expected, but some of them don't feel super clear. Like if I say do your best, what does that mean? Does that mean your book is open? Does that mean your phone is away? Like it's kind of open-ended. So I think it's not clear enough. So I would challenge you guys to have rules that are more clear. So for example, so that they're clear and specific, they're simple, they're positive, you can enforce them, and they're non-threatening. So for example, what about if you're saying to your students like, stop doing that or else, put your phone away or it's mine. Is there anything wrong with these kinds of statements, do you think?
Stop doing that. I mean, yeah, that's the first warning, I guess. And then if the student keeps on doing it, then you should basically give him a second warning, which is a bit heavier, a bit, I mean, more strict, I would say, with more consequences. Like second warning should be consequences already. One thing, and the third one would be the ultimate punishment, I guess, like sending him out or writing his name in the Sogiraba,
Okay, yeah. So, okay, so I like you have like the levels of like first warning, second warning, punishment. But I would say like even just saying stop doing that, it's not specific. Like, what is that? Is it put your phone away? Is it, don't study math? So here I would say it's like, not specific. Like it should be specifically what is the behavior. But also, what about put your phone away or it's mine? How does that sound?
It sounds like you're trying to take something that doesn't belong to you. I wouldn't use this exact phrase the way like, well, no, it belongs to me.
Yeah. So yeah, it sounds like you want to take it. And then also Igor is saying it sounds like a threat. So that's when it sounds threatening, it's not positive. So if you say something like that, I think you're really opening up a challenge. So now the students want to try to challenge you, why we don't want to have this fight, and the more we do this, and I've been guilty of this too, we start to get really upset. So it would be best to stay positive, like, please put your phone away, please put your math away. Also I see in the chat, don't be playing other games. If you are giving many warnings for phones, maybe after the third warning, you can have the phone, but then take their phone and put it on the teacher's desk or something. But trying to keep it positive and being clear and specific, I would say. So going into the rules, so I think keeping them clear and specific, no phones unless instructed by the teacher. You shouldn't be working on other subjects. This is a big one for me, like asked to go to the bathroom. There have been so many times when students just walk out, and I absolutely do not like that. Like, they should always ask. And one thing I even do is I'll even say, you don't have to interrupt class and ask me. You could do like the sign language sign for toilet, which is like a T. If I see them raise their hand and like do that symbol, then I can like non-verbally say, okay, you can go to the bathroom, as opposed to they walk up to me like while I'm teaching, teacher, may I go to the bathroom? Like, well, you just interrupted the class. Yes, you may go. But, if you just do a sign, then I know. And I would try to keep it down to one, maybe two students at a time, unless it's emergency. Obviously, we don't want students to, have an accident in class. So I heard a lot of people saying being respectful, and I do agree. And respectful can be open-ended. So I would specifically say, like, when we're practicing English, please don't laugh or make fun of somebody for trying, or if they make a mistake. That's one thing I always focus on. And also maybe no eating in class. Many teachers might be strict on this. I'm not, as long as they're not making a mess, but it's really up to you. This is just like my go-to, but do you guys have any other rules that you think that I'm missing or should be included?
Giant name tags.
Oh, name tags. Okay, so students wearing name tags.
So I make them make CEO style name tags.
Okay, so they
desk.
okay. So maybe you can have, name tags for desk. That's good, because obviously we want to see their names if they don't have any on there.
I have been asking our English for the class lists, but they never seem to supply them. Because I've also tried.
Okay. Yeah, so
I've been
that is
asking
true.
for the past. I've been asking since I got to school for the past 6 weeks. Or so.
Yeah.
For class lists.
Yeah.
And,
But class lists, don't they have, like, at least in my school, they have it just somewhere stuck to the board, or you can go to
well, I would like an electronic file.
yeah, something like that. But in my school we have
So I
it.
could, so I can do, the app Wheel of Names.
Yeah.
So if I had an electronic file, I could apply that to Wheel of Names, and then always randomly generate my student name.
Yeah,
but-
that is a good tip. I know sometimes during exams we'll be given a list of names. Like Alex said, some of my classrooms have it on the wall, and sometimes one student, maybe the lead student, will have a list. Most classes, the students should be numbered, and they should know their numbers. So if you pick a random number, say if you have, some of my classes have like 50.
I do the random number, but I still prefer if I have a name for the student. If we could get more consistently the list of names electronically when we're given our package of which classes we're supposed to be teaching.
Yeah, that's helpful. So I think Wendy said she's noted that. So hopefully we can get this set up, because that would be helpful. Yeah. Okay, also another feedback, a class monitor can have a class map with the names. Yeah, and sometimes on the teacher desk, there will be a seating chart sometimes. So sometimes it depends.
I mean, if that could be more consistently applied in every classroom, that would be very helpful. And make sure that Power English sets it as a standard for every classroom Power English is in.
I think so. I think that is very helpful. Class list standardized. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Okay, thank you, John. Anybody else have any other rules that you like to use in your classrooms? Okay, I try to keep it simple. I mean, the more you have, it just gets complex. So I think keep it simple. Simpler is better. If you have any ideas, you can always let me know or tell us. Yeah, so you've had your rules and certain things that I find helpful when you're trying to have the rules and enforce them. One thing that I did a lot when I used to teach special education back in America was like positive narration. So, for example, in this case, this student, Huang An, is on his phone. And instead of saying like, Huang An, stop using your phone, put your phone away, I could praise the students next to him who are not using their phone. So I could say, Yui and me, thank you for not using your phones. Or even, Yui and me, you're not on your phones, thank you. In the hopes that he will then, oh, okay, I should put my phone away. That would be one tip. Or silent stare. I'll just maybe stand and stare at Huang An, which he won't notice because he's on his phone. But if I stare, then other students will wonder, what am I staring at? And then they will say, oh, put your phone away. Also, okay, Alex said side eye or direct stare. So maybe side eye or direct. I like to be dramatic, so I might like gasp, like, oh my gosh, and like walk over them and be really dramatic. And instead of saying, put your phone away, you are always using your phone, just like pretending to be scared or gasping or standing next to them so that the attention is on them and then they'll put it away. I mean, there's no perfect thing, and you will try to do a million things until something catches. That would just be my idea. Any other strategies you guys use besides saying put your phone away or something like that?
Well, in my school, students like 3 years ago, they taught me to use a word, and I'm not guilty of using it. We all have a good laugh for like 5-6 seconds, especially students sitting around the one who's breaking rules. Just coming to that student, and I have like a long pointer because we use TVs, and I just touch him or her with that pointer and say, "Ga," and everyone starts laughing around, which means then they joke on him. It's not like we are laughing at the student, but we laugh together with him, which means stop doing whatever you are doing right now and just focus on the lesson. And it works, well, at least in my case.
Oh, that's the Vietnamese word cam, right? Like
No, ga, like chicken, ga.
Oh,
but it has to be
okay.
pronounced with this in a specific way, just that you mean that he's doing wrong thing, like he's not a good person or something like that. Yeah.
So it's fun, yeah, to use, so you can use Vietnamese if you know how to pronounce it. I've had students try to teach me things, but sometimes they teach me bad things. So
well,
I will not trust them until I can make sure that what they're teaching me is appropriate. So this is appropriate, but I would be also careful if they're telling you to say something, because they might be teaching you something.
Yeah, that's it goes like that's a whole pack of these words, but this one exactly has been tested, verified, so I'm using it. Not all the time, but just to make the situation a little bit, in a joking manner or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, using humor. So any type of humor, as opposed to getting upset and saying don't, stop. So humor, dramaticness, being silent, just positivity as opposed to getting upset. Yeah, I think that's a great tip. So just, yeah, humor in a fun way. Yeah. So just some ideas. If you guys have any more, you can let me know. Now, when it comes to the rules, we have obstacles. A lot of times we lack authority, you know, time. Like, for example, oh, you lose recess. Like, we don't have time to really keep students in the class during a recess or break time. So we can't really do that. The amount of students, we have so many. Also, it's the sad truth, but most of our classes, like our students are ungraded. So maybe they don't take it seriously because they're not getting a real grade from us, realistically. So it's kind of a challenge. Have you guys faced any other obstacles when it comes to trying to enforce rules?
So when it comes to okay. Oh yeah, I'm like hearing myself from someone else's mic actually.
Yeah, it is echoing, Simon. I don't know why.
So
If
oh no, still echoing.
I'm sorry, Simon. It's kind of hard. I don't know if maybe you want to type.
Okay, I guess that'll work for now. Thank you by the way, Simon. So my thing I have a bit of so mine's not necessarily a new obstacle actually, if I could just ask about one of these obstacles.
Sure.
So for example, last week, because the midterm tests are coming and all that, it's a combination of the students. They weren't like talking or anything, but there would be a lot of students like studying math or physics in preparation for like the midterm tests. And of course you can say, please stop, etc. But because the midterm tests were this week, and because this is quite an academically oriented high school, a lot of the students, it'd be like one of my classes, I think it was like 1/3 of the students were studying something different, or one class I think was even like 1/2, like when I walked in the room. And of course I can enforce, and I managed to stop some of them from doing that. But when it's just like so many, the volume of students that is studying something else, especially with the sheer volume, because I can take care of this one over here, but then this one over here is still doing their own thing and all that. So it's like, how would you enforce something like that, especially like studying other subjects? Because for them it's very easy to like hide it, like put the paper under the textbook, etc.
Yeah, so I mean it's tricky. I see in the chat, maybe like, okay, so try to say something like, if you participate well, I'll give you some time to study at the end of the class. I think that's okay, yeah, like free time. But I'll go over that in the next slide. I would try to reduce free time. So Kyle, I'll specifically answer in like the next part.
Okay.
But let's just put a pin in that, because that is usually it's cell phones and studying other subjects. Those are the two big challenges we face. Yeah, I'll go into that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Before I do, I just have 3 scenarios, and these are real life scenarios. So I want to get what you guys think is wrong about this and how we can fix it. So a student continually does math during English class or study something else, even though the teacher has told them many times to stop. So as a consequence, the teacher confiscates the student's work and rips it in half. This is a true story, by the way. A teacher told me they did this.
Not good.
I know the student doing math is not good, right?
not good tearing something that doesn't belong to you in half. So it's just his work. Just take, confiscate it, put it on the table, continue with the lesson, give it after the lesson, period. You don't have to tear it. You don't have to do anything with something that doesn't belong to you. Just keep it on the table, keep it classy.
Yeah, so those are some good things. So yeah, I mean, I first would give a warning, but then if you need to, take it, put it on the teacher's desk. I would never take something from a student, like physically grab it or rip it. Yeah, and it creates a hostile environment. We want students to want to study with us. We don't want them to be afraid or upset or think that it's like a fight. So yeah. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, true story. I can't believe they would do that. This is also a true story. Another teacher told me they did this. A student keeps her backpack on her desk in order to hide the fact that she's playing a game on her phone. So the teacher takes her backpack and throws it off the third floor balcony.
Well, that's just property damage, it sounds like.
It is, and the sad thing is, like, the teacher admitted to me that they did this. Like, I just think it's insane. I think they are no longer with working with.
No, the PC.
So what would you guys suggest instead of taking their backpack and throwing it off of a balcony? What should we do?
I would take.
I mean,
okay, yeah, sorry, yeah.
I guess you should do whatever. Should be honest with yourself, meaning that if you feel like when you were young, you would do such things. Not that I'm saying that I did those things, but we have all been young, so we have to be conscious of that. We're all like human beings with our flaws and everything. So when someone is misbehaving in class, it's just sometimes a personal maybe they have some personal issues that you don't know of, and really choosing a violent way of throwing the bag out of the window or just screaming at them is a very I would say very harsh way to deal with the problem, because as I said, everybody have their own problems. Maybe they have some family issues at home. You have to take consideration of all these factors, when we deal with students. So the best approach, in my opinion, would be a soft approach, meaning conversational, like having a nice question, or nice question or not, it's just how do you feel like, if you feel like this student is misbehaving just to test your authority, then you should show a sign of authority, like, of course. But if in most cases you don't know the students, you don't know what they're going through, so the best way is just to choose a very neutral way and stay neutral, unless they are pushing you towards subjective judgment, and then you should show that you are actually the person in charge, and that should include sometimes punishing people, writing their names in the Sogidalbai, or just never show violence, never show any signs of violence, physical violence, but you should definitely show that you are the boss, and you should be really clear on that fact. Even sometimes verbalize it, like saying I'm the boss or I'm the teacher here, you should listen to me or whatever.
Okay, Evie, I think being firm, also, like you talked about, like talking to the student, writing their names down, even saying just please clear your desk, please put your backpacks under, and then if it continues, then go more, but at least just asking them to clear their desk first, I would say, like, talk instead of violence. We should never ever have violence like that.
Or just do something passive aggressive.
Yeah, passive aggressive, not aggressive.
No, passive aggressive.
One more scenario that I think happens a lot is, a single student is disrupting the class. They might cuss, and so the teacher just says, "Get out." Like, go to the supervisor room. What do you guys think will happen if you tell the student to get out and go to the supervisor room? Will they actually do it?
In my school, they will.
Okay. That's good.
Sure.
I think in most cases, they wouldn't do that. So I would maybe, try to keep the students in the class, or if you need to, walk them to the supervisor room so you can know that they get there, or even call PEC. They say to call your QC if there is something really dramatic like that. But I would say most of the time, if you tell them to get out, they just got a free get out of jail card. They get to go do whatever they want now. So I think that's probably not super effective, but that would be my idea. Okay, so going into the rules or punishments, we've kind of talked about it. So Evie has said like verbal warnings, might give like extra assignments, extra speaking activities, extra writing. You could lower the class diary, not earning rewards, activities, games. Oh, I have extra assignments twice. For something I started recently is having a non-threatening way so students can see the punishment. So I have my like team points, and then now I've started doing a triangle of sadness, where I think it's a funny sounding name. Every time I see a student on their phone, I'll do a mark. And if I'm saying, if I give you 5 marks, that means I'm gonna -1 from the student book. So I think it gives them a visualization of like, okay, I may erase some if they're doing well, but I think this is one way to visualize it. Like if they're doing other work or they're on their phones, I'll make a mark. And then the more marks there are, the students get more worried, and hopefully they will start to focus more. So that's just one idea that they can visualize what I would do by subtracting from the soda buy. Anybody have any comments or feedback about that?
Sometimes
Have
if
you guys-
that's your
Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
sometimes if you're co-teaching with a Vietnamese teacher, your Vietnamese teacher might have a system where they're giving points for class participation, and you can talk to your Vietnamese co-teacher to reward or subtract a student with penalty points or bonus points for class participation, and the students seem to respond to like class participation points if the Vietnamese teacher is so inclined, co-teacher is so inclined to keep them.
Yeah, I think if you have a TA or you see that you have the Vietnamese co-teacher, I think working with them is perfect. We should work together and help each other, and it would make both of our jobs easier. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Okay. I'm sure you guys have seen the class diary. They've been changing, so like now there's more points. Like I think you would write your notes here, like, oh, the students are unfocused. You could write names here. This one means like studying well, the room is clean. I'm sorry, it's like the technology is working, or the room is clean. I don't know. Some classes it's like 10 points, but then others go up to 40 points. So you could lower the score, but then obviously we shouldn't lower it too much. So I think the lowest PEC wants us to lower is 7 out of 10, or maybe 30 out of 40 for one period. But that would be one thing. Writing down student names, lowering the score. But I would try not to lower it too much, but also have a visual so they can see what are you deducting and can they fix it. So that would be one tip.
A quick question. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Talking about the Sodavai. In my school, we do actually have two books like that. This is the Sodavai and So We Fum. We are like teachers by some kind of school rules are not allowed to give those scores like 40 points, 30, the way that you're showing right now in PowerPoint page. But everything that students do in not an appropriate way, we have to put everything into So We Fum. And somehow it works because students get really scary. And when I come to my next lesson, I look into the So We Fum book to see who out of all of these students in my class were not doing well during the past week. And I choose them, for example, to answer my questions, to do the activities in the classroom, some kind of, the way to redeem themselves, probably because they did something wrong that week. They have to behave better and do something this week. But this stuff with Sodavai, in my school, we are not allowed to put these things into this book, like at all, no points. We just give A, B, C, signature, and whatever we were doing at the lesson. No names, no nothing. I believe it depends on the school.
Yeah, so it must depend. So like you're saying, if you saw their names in the book, you might then call them to like do extra activities. And maybe some classes you don't write in the book, but if you can, we could write the name and that could be a form of punishment. But yeah, every school is different. So this might not work for you. That's possible. Yeah. Thank you, Alex. So we talked about punishments, thinking of awards, types of rewards, whole class. So kind of like there's a chat in the chat saying, if you guys focus well, at the end of the class, you will have some free time. So that could just be for the whole class. If everybody puts their phones away and focuses, we will play a Kahoot or have free time. Or teams. I use teams a lot, adding teams. Maybe the team with the most points can choose to play a game, or maybe they would want a physical reward. Individuals, just calling out the students. This type of whole class reward is like for younger learners, like, oh, if the class earns 5 stars, then we can earn a game. Obviously, for high school, that probably wouldn't work. So if you wanted that, maybe, I don't know, like, oh, we got to earn Cafe Soda. Like you could draw a cup. Okay, you earn the coffee. I don't know. I was trying to be creative, but I would say usually I would just do teams or maybe a whole class, like if, then. That's my idea. And then thinking of rewards, so we have tangible rewards, things like candy, toys, stickers, a surprise goodie bag, raffle tickets. If you have raffle tickets, students could exchange for something. Of course, these are highly desired because they cost money. And because of that, we might not do this all the time. Intangible, things that don't cost money, like activities, games, free choice, music, maybe a virtual field trip. Like if you have a projector, you could show them a video of something. Or even praise. Many times, like, oh, team 1, you win, congratulations. And then everybody claps. It doesn't always have to be something physical. What do you guys think? Are high school students too old for candy and stickers?
They love them.
They all love it.
Exactly, they're not. You're never too old.
And
So
17 years old.
even if they're 17, of course, they still want candy. They asked me for candy.
Last week they asked me if we can celebrate Halloween together and have candies. So
yeah. So if
I ordered
if
a
you
lot
can,
for them.
good. I love it. I think it's fun. I wouldn't try to do it all the time. Like you don't want always to have candy, but sometimes it's good. And students, they still like it.
Balance. Don't spoil them too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, try not to spoil them too much, but sometimes it's good. And I think on Lazada, you could order a ton of things at once.
Yeah.
Also, I try to keep it like a surprise, like, oh, for Halloween, I had like these gummy marshmallows and like whistles. So I just said, oh, it's goblin eyes or werewolf whistles. Saying something they don't even know what it is, but it's more exciting because I'm making up a name for it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then when it comes to free choice, like in free time, how much time do you guys think is acceptable? Like 15 minutes, 20, 30? How many minutes do you guys think is okay for free time?
I think 15 maximum.
Okay, so maybe 15 max. I am kind
I
of
mean,
different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
example, if it's a class at the end of the day, the students are tired, so it would be more logical to give them more free time because they've been studying the whole day. So as a reward system, if we reward, I would say like effort, then at the end of the day, they deserve more free time than at the beginning of the day, I guess.
Yeah, end of day is always hard, I think. End of day is always challenging. It might be controversial. I try not to give free time. If I do, I would maybe give 5 minutes max. That's just my opinion. I just think like from the outside, if you give free time and another teacher walks by, it looks like you're not doing anything and it looks like the students aren't. So I would just say be careful. For me, if I think of free time, I think of just a game that we can do together so that students are participating. It's up to you, but I would just say be cautious because on the outside, it may look different.
Maybe it
So
can
that's
be,
just,
I'm sorry,
no, it's okay.
like exercise free time, but not just free time. They will start playing their phones, but we can like have a chat with them. Maybe.
Yeah, discussion, some sort of activity, and we'll
Yeah.
go over some more activities. That would be, I would say, but it's up to you. Okay. So again, just positive reinforcement, being positive. Hopefully we can motivate the students, build our relationships, reduce negative behavior, all the good stuff. Okay. And again, there are barriers, money, being creative. Maybe we don't have resources, students are bored, and they have a high workload. So just know, yes, there are issues with reward systems that have to try to be creative to solve. Okay. This is the end of the first part. Do you guys have any ideas for rewards you guys like to use in class? I mean, I did hear like some free time. Any other rewards you guys find helpful or creative?
Well, I usually extend time for doing some kind of activities for my students instead of giving free time at the end of the lesson.
Okay, so just different, maybe, engaging activities or maybe things that they chose. Yeah. Hopefully, if you guys have any others, you could always type it or let us know. But I think it just takes creativity. I think sometimes the best rewards are the ones that don't cost any money. Okay. So unless anybody has questions, I want to look at some increasing student engagement, getting more students engaged. Now, when we think of student engagement, what do you guys think about? Because I think about attention. The students seem happy to see me. I think that's the biggest thing, is just they actually look happy that we're there. I don't know. I've had times where I was absent, and when I came back, the students were like, "You're here, thank God you're back." Like they were so afraid that I had left them or something. So I would think of those. Okay, so there are many different ways, like, I think it's helpful to know what students think. PEC does student feedback twice a year, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. So there are many times I'll give students, I'll choose some classes. Maybe it's a class where the students seem bored. So I'll say, okay, you guys, I want you to give me feedback. And I'll draw on the board, like, what am I doing well? What do you like about the class? Then I'll draw a thumb down, like, what do I need to improve on? What do you not like? It's just simple. It's just give them all small pieces of paper, or they could do their own paper. And I've gotten some funny things, like they of course try to draw that, like, oh, trust, funny, conscientious, friendly. I talk English too much. So that is I think this was actually like 6th grade. So this student didn't like that I talk English too much, which is kind of funny. If you have technology, you can make like a Google form. You could print this out. I think it's helpful. I think it's helpful to ask them, and also ask them what games do they want to play? What do they like? And you can kind of use that. So if you're in doubt, ask them, what do they want? What do they want to do? Our obstacles, cell phones, number one. Some of our material, it's too easy. Maybe it's too difficult. It's unrelated. You know, students are not interested in maybe speaking about the environment. Studying for other subjects, we've been talking about. You know, obviously lack of eye contact. I would even say lack of teacher movement. I don't know about you guys, but I'm running up and down the aisles. I am jumping around. I never sit. So like, I don't know. I never sit. I'm always running around. And I remember one time, a student gave me feedback like, oh, teacher moves around too much. So they've complained, but you know what? I would rather run around than not. So that's what I would do. So increasing student engagement, I'm thinking about just being active learning. Even students taking notes is active learning. Group work, discussions, role-playing, debates, presentations, having students come up to teach something, interactive quizzes, just having student active learning techniques. Do you guys have any notes on this or anything extra you would consider like active learning? It's basically anything besides open your books and do exercise 1.
I allow sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well, I allow my students to use the phones because according to school rules, they can't have their phones on their desks, anything, only in their bags. So I don't see their phones at all. And I don't have that kind of problem at all. I just allow them every like 3, probably 4 lessons. I give them like 20 minutes or 15, 20 minutes during the lesson to go online. And I tell them beforehand, so they have to prepare their phones and internet to go online and to look for some information about this or that topic that we are currently discussing, so they could prepare themselves and then they could talk.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I have a section about that. You know, we tell students, put your phones away, but we should try to find activities if we can that use the phones, because that is our life now. Like phones, we are so ingrained in technology. So if we can use them appropriately, that gives them the chance to use their device. So I think that's really really helpful. Yeah, anything besides just, okay, open your book, do the work, you know, anything besides just that. Relating lessons to life. Many students, they think it's not relating. So, you know, anything that's happening, see if you can integrate that. I even try to follow sometimes, like, you know, the Vietnamese newspaper, maybe incorporate that, talk to students about it. Just like a more natural way to discuss things that are really happening. Again, I would say be careful. I wouldn't talk about politics or cultural taboos or anything else. We want to try to stay away from that stuff. Of course, students will ask or talk about it, but I would try to just like switch topics and be honest. Like, sorry, we are not going to talk about politics or, you know, controversial things. Yes, Alex.
A little bit of topic. Is Vietnam going to have really 17 days of holidays in 2024? Is it like a real news?
This is on VN Express, so maybe, I don't know, maybe Wendy or Dat knows, but I'm sure they'll keep us updated about the holidays.
I have a question myself for increased for relating lessons to real life.
Yeah.
So this is sort of gets back to like how strictly we should or should not follow the book. Like for example, a couple weeks ago I had a writing class, and it said in the book essentially that what they should write about was like a dangerous situation where they're like in the woods, sort of like a pretend scenario. Like write about a dangerous situation where you are in the woods and you come across a bear or whatever. And I changed it actually to be like, what's the most dangerous situation you've ever encountered before? So it was still about a dangerous situation, but I just changed it to be about the situation they've experienced. Is that usually okay to do, to just like adapt and not follow strictly 100% the book, like adapt to a different type of situation?
I think that's 100% okay. And if anything, it's better. So you should do that. I think that's terrific. I would always try to do that to make it more interesting, because otherwise they're going to be bored and like, oh, I've never been in the woods, I don't understand what this means. So I think that's perfect. I think that's what we should be doing.
Okay, I just wanted to double check on that. Thank you.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. No, thank you. That's terrific. Also, this is challenging because a lot of teachers don't have technology, but if you do, use it. Projectors, TVs, like I said earlier, cell phones are like a big distraction, but if you can give them opportunities to use their phones, I think it's helpful. You know, if you have things like YouTube or like Google Forms, even just playing music, Kahoot. I think this is great if you can. If you can't, don't worry, because I have another part where we'll talk about that. But if you have technology, I think it is helpful to use it, definitely. Being unpredictable, the element of surprise is great. I know we need to be consistent, but if you can make students excited by, you know, keeping things surprising, it keeps class from being dull. So just like earlier, I talked about giving candy, and instead of saying like, okay, you're gonna earn marshmallows, like, no, you're gonna get goblin eyes. Like, oh, what's a goblin eye? Or a werewolf whistle. Ooh, what's that? Like, even if it's not a surprise, but you build up a surprise, like, okay, if you guys work hard, I have a really special surprise for you. It builds the anticipation. And in the end, if it's not really surprising, it's kind of funny. So I just think be unpredictable. Say, we're gonna do the most amazing thing ever at the end of class. I think it might sound silly, but I think it is effective. If you can, games and quizzes, some of these require technology, others don't. So for example, I'm sure hopefully you guys know about Jeopardy. It's like a game show where there are 5 categories. Each question gets more difficult. It could be any topic. This was like IELTS. And while I use this website to make this, you could also just draw it on the board. You don't need the technology. And then once a student picks, the number, you could exit on the board, and then you can just verbally say it, and then, give the team points. So I think something like that is good. Or using Bamboozle, which is like a quiz type game. If you ever need help, use an AI tool. It might not be perfect, but you could use ChatGPT to give you ideas for games if you are curious or not sure what to do. If you can, something I like to do is I like to add memes or funny things I found on Reddit. Like this is a Godzilla made out of cockroaches. Like if you have a projector or something, putting that in maybe a slideshow if you're making slideshows. I'm sure it's not really big anymore, but students used to always say like Bing chilling, which was like a meme. So if you're able to know what they're talking about, you can maybe incorporate that in lesson with like a slideshow or a game. Just anything that's humorous to get them to connect with you more. And also, I know it's very difficult, but I try to think every day is a new day. So even if your class really upset you yesterday, trying to it's a new day, not hold it against them and try to just move forward. I know it's tricky, but just it's the life of a teacher. Again, connecting more with student interests. Just like when I said you could do student feedback, ask them what they like. What do they want to do? And try to incorporate that if you can. Also, they'll ask you, what do you like? Who's your favorite sports player, or who's your favorite rapper? Right now, I don't know why, but they're obsessed with the rapper Eminem. And so I have tons of students asking me about Eminem now, which I didn't think Eminem was even popular anymore. Yeah. If you can't use sorry.
Just that's because their parents currently are listening probably to Eminem because he's not relevant to the high school students anymore.
Maybe I've had a student come up to me and I didn't even know this student, and he came up to me and he's like, "This looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me because we all need a little controversy." Like, why do you even know this? Like, so random, but if you tap into that, it's fun. And I know it sounds simple, but even saying student names, maybe we don't all speak Vietnamese, but if you can learn the pronunciation of the simple names, I think students really appreciate it. And also encourage them to use your name, because I don't like being called teacher. So I tell them, no, just call me Travis or call me Mr. Travis. Like, I'm not I'm your teacher, but you call me my first name. I don't mind. Yeah, I don't know. See what's trending on Reddit, TikTok, YouTube. That's all the students do. So if you can incorporate it, I think it's good. And share about yourself too. I think students really appreciate that. Allowing choice, so allowing students to collaborate with you, be it they vote, after we do our lesson, do you guys choose to do this activity or watch this video, or do you want free time, or would you rather have this? Allowing them to choose, getting student feedback. Also befriending the class monitor, the one student in class who is helping to manage behaviors. Befriend them and and encourage other students to help you with the crowd control. So if you can get them on your side, they will help you so that they are reminding each other, you guys need to focus, put your phones away, put your math away. So having that good relationship with your students so they want to work with you. Yes, Mr. Alex.
Well, as to encouraging students to collaborate, I ask my students when, for example, I choose a student, I ask a question, we do just our work, I hear the answer, and then I ask that student to choose another one in the classroom for the next answer. So they go all around in circles. I basically stopped using these random numbers generator because this is the way I destroy their friendships in the classroom. This is fun, and you can actually observe who they are close friends with, who they don't like, who they want to punish for something. It's kind of fun. It's also kind of a passive-aggressive way.
It is, and so they will pick people, but I've also had lately, I have some like special needs students who are in class, but they don't really ever speak. And there have been times when I'm like, okay, please pick somebody. And then they intentionally pick the student who will struggle.
That's let's say the thing that teachers should control really well, because it's becomes like more the bullying or something. It should not be allowed, and students should be aware of that. That's probably the only factor.
Yeah, so finding adaptations, but I do like that. So I do like to use like a random number picker. And, you know, I do like, oh, if I have maybe 151 students, I'll pick a student and say, okay, student 13. And then normally they think, okay, no, they have to speak. I might say, okay, now student 13, you can pick someone else to speak. So I think that's good. And it takes away the responsibility from us by having students choose. I think that is 100%. I really like that tip. Yeah. But anytime they can make a choice, it takes the choice off of you and it makes them more active. Okay, so do you guys have any other ideas? Like, what else do you guys do to encourage or to increase student engagement? Any other tips or tricks? So some ideas, I really liked the students choose others. I liked adapting the writing task. Any other ideas you guys think are helpful?
If it's a class that, if it's possible, I try to have them speak as much as possible, because I've noticed over the time, not just with this, but with most teaching jobs, is that if the teacher keeps talking, the students kind of tune out after a little bit. The students kind of care more about what each other say. Like if you ask a question to the students are kind of more interested in what their friends or their classmates have to say about a certain topic than what the teacher thinks, because these are their classmates they've known for years, etc. So I would try to get the students to talk with each other or to volunteer, etc., as much as possible. And I've noticed that helps with their engagement. So like elicit answers from them, get as much speaking together as possible for like a speaking class, etc. Just do as much as possible.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, because if you just get a student to say like, oh, I don't know, what's your favorite food? And they say spaghetti. Well, like, Alyssa, why? Why do you like it? Giving more reasons. And this is true, reducing the teacher talk time. I think it's supposed to be like, is it 80-20? Like it's supposed to be 80% students speaking and 20% teachers talking. So anytime we can reduce the amount of time we are talking, yes, exactly. Any other tips and tricks? Okay, also, you know, phones for learning, like using your phone in an appropriate way. I think anytime we can incorporate that, I think that's terrific. Okay, no, if there's no other ideas, I'm gonna move to the next topic, but always feel free, if you think of something, you can just type it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
about using phones. Excuse me.
Yeah, yeah,
Quick question.
yeah.
I'm finding since a lot of the lessons, I don't know if it's a bad habit or because all of the materials have been sent to us to our G drive on that I've been using my phone as my textbook and my listening and my to do the listening and to do the textbook and everything. But is that problematic?
No, of course not. I mean, you're using it for teaching purposes, so that's fine. I mean, I use mine for the listening, randomly picking students, or sometimes I need to check my spelling or I need to look something up, so I'll use it to double check. But as long as it's, if we're using our phone for teaching.
Because I'm using also as the textbook because it has the textbooks all over it and on the G drive and everything.
Yeah, no, John, that is totally okay. That is totally okay. And Power English, I've heard them say it too. Like, obviously, we can't use our phone unless it's for teaching purposes. So we're not looking at Facebook or, you know, whatever. Just anything that we're using for in that time is to for teaching. Yeah, no, that's totally a-okay. And more lately, I use my phone to check my spelling because I feel like I used to be a good speller until I became an English teacher. And then now I second guess everything that I write or say, and I need to double check it myself. Yeah, thank you, John. So if there are feel free to let me know any other things if you guys have any other ideas. For topic 3, my hope is to help you guys think of some engaging activities, specifically without technology. So I want to give you ideas that you can use without using projectors and TVs. Obviously, if we can keep students active, there's less downtime, less phone use, less side discussions, less working on other subjects, hopefully more participation. That is the goal. Obviously, there are many barriers to making engaging activities, like resources, projectors, maybe printing. You know, we have to go out to print things. Time, it takes time, costs money, class size, and also student level. You know, students are different levels, so it can be tricky, but hopefully we can think of some solutions. So, like I said, first, I want to focus on games that don't require technology. So if you're thinking of a skill, if you're thinking of an activity, first you got to think of what the skill is. So are you focusing on speaking, reading, listening, writing? Go from there. My tip would be to have like a couple of activities that you can just switch it to make it something new. So I don't know, I guess maybe I'll say this like good bones. Like the activity has the structure and you can just reuse it for something else. So, this is like ESL teacher 101, like using charades, Pictionary, Hot Seat. These are games we can use for like any theme, any type of vocabulary. I don't want to assume, are we all familiar with charades, Pictionary, and Hot Seat? Hopefully you guys are. Pictionary or charades, you'd have a student come up, you give them a vocabulary word, and then they have to act it out without speaking. So say if it was like fishing, they have to like pretend to be fishing, and then another student would guess. Pictionary, normally you would have like one student come up. Yeah, I use these in high school classes. I would. To make something like Pictionary more interesting, where one student comes up and say you give them a word, they draw the word, and then a student will guess. But I have multiple students come up. So maybe if the class is in half, one student from team 1, one student from team 2, they both draw the same thing, but at least more students are participating as opposed to just one. You could even have all 4 teams come up and draw. Just more students, the better. Hot seat, a student is sitting down. You write down a word on the board behind them. So for example, dog, and then these students will describe it. And then you want this person to say dog. And you know, you could do how many words can you get in like 1 minute? So these are kind of like, I don't know, I think it's like ESL teacher 101. So these can always be changed. I think they're kind of fun. I'm a big fan of board races. So even in high school, I do tons of board races. So they are low prep, you can adapt them, and they get students moving. So I'm going to show a few variations, but in this one, like, oh, the focus is vocabulary. Say we're talking about food. So I have the teams on the board, like I say, team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4. But I don't say we're going to talk about food. I just say, oh, team 1, tell me the name of a celebrity. And then they might say, oh, Eminem or Sun Tome, who's a rapper. So I write the name down. This is called an acrostic. Team 2, give me a celebrity. Travis Scott. Okay, Travis Scott. Team 3, so on. Then I say, okay, so you have our celebrities. Now you guys have to think of food that starts with this letter, like with each first letter. Maybe I'll say you have 2 minutes to finish, but one student at a time. So you give each team a piece of chalk. You say you start the timer, one student comes up, they write one word, they pass the chalk, come back, pass the chalk until they're done. And then I would check for spelling at the very end, like, oh, this is spelled wrong. And then give points. I think I made a noodles. Why did I have this crossed out? I don't know why. But then I give them points. Okay, and then yeah, so then I give them points. But that's one way of like just listing vocabulary, but then changing it by, oh, now we're doing like a celebrity name. So maybe that could be a modification for that. Another board race could be for like writing. So instead of writing at their desk, in teams, they would make a collaborative story. So same thing. Each team gets a piece of chalk. And I might say like, oh, for this topic, it's ghost stories. But I would say like, oh, team 1, tell me the name of a Halloween creature. Like zombie. Okay, team 2, Dracula. And you write that. And then I would say, okay, so you're going to write a story 1 to 2 words at a time per student and pass the chalk. And maybe I'll say you have 3-4 minutes. the story doesn't need to make sense, but it must be grammatically correct. So then they do it, you stop it, then at the end, you guys can read all the stories together, correcting mistakes. So for example, Dracula sleeping, it should be was, so minus a point, but sleeping is spelled correctly, so 4 points minus 1. You can do something like that. You could adapt this to a grammar tense. So for example, create a story using the past tense with the beginning one day. And so then they would have the same time, something like that. But I think this could be interesting. And then does anybody have any thoughts on this? Any ideas? Is so far this helpful?
I have, there was a game that I used to use when I was working at a secondary school focused on vocabulary. I asked students to free the aisles of their bags, and I was taking 4 students because they have normally like 4 rows of desks. Each row was representing each team, and I was giving them words from the previous lesson's vocabulary, and they had to act those words like charades in front of their team. And their teammates, the ones that guessed the word, they had to rush back to the board and write this word on the board. So then we were counting how many words were written in like a minute or 2, and then I was giving them points out. That was kind of a nice, I don't play it anymore because my high school students feel like it's kind of boring, but secondary school students, they were so fond of it.
You know, and some high school students might think it's boring, but I think you'd be surprised. Like if you tried at a new school, they might like it. So I wouldn't always assume that maybe some students might be bored, but I like the idea of getting them up and writing, because then that's the less time that you're standing and talking. There's more time for them to write, and then having the students correct each other too. So I think that is, and also 2 in 1. So if you have charades and writing, you're adding 2 skills, so it's more interesting. So I have a board race, but for like listening. So for example, here, like this is a row of students. We have 4 rows. I'll give the last student a piece of paper with a phrase. This phrase was about heteronyms. So words that are spelled the same, but pronounced differently. And then they would say, or whisper the word or the sentence to this person, this person, this person, this person. And it's supposed to snake around, and then the first person comes up and writes it on the board. This can be tricky because it's a lot of students and they will try to cheat. But if you can, try to get them to not cheat, or like earlier I said the triangle of sadness, like, oh, team 1 is cheating, minus a point. I don't know. So this is one way of they're listening and then also writing. It's combining 2 skills. It takes some time. It can be fun. You can adapt it to like related topics, using related vocabulary, things like that. And also you could probably change it too. You could make teams smaller. You could make it like, this is 1 team, this is a second team, so that it's like just going straight up. That would be one idea, I think. And then also at the end, I would give points for them being quiet, for being fast, and being accurate. If there's a mistake, I would like -1, but I tried to give many opportunities for points so that they are quiet and following the rules. So thinking of like grammar, we could do a board race with grammar. So for this case, what if the grammar tense is like present continuous plus simple past? So for example, well, I guess I won't do this example yet, but a sentence using both, like was eating and then sang. So I might say, okay, team one, you guys are racing to do verbing plus a noun. Team two, you're thinking of places. Team three, you're doing past tense verb. Team four, you guys are doing adverbs. And then I give each team a piece of chalk. Okay, you have 2 minutes. How many can you write? They come up, playing video games, pass the chalk, and so forth. All going at the same time. Then at the end, you can count all the words they have. If they have a mistake, they don't get that. And then after that, challenge them to make a sentence using one of each column. So I was eating chicken in John Cena's pool when I sang beautifully. It doesn't have to make sense, but they're focusing on the structure. Also, if you have like sticky balls, I guess they could throw sticky balls at the columns and then try to like say what it is. But I think this is a more interesting way than, okay, open your books, do exercise 2, now do exercise 3. You know, it doesn't have to make sense, but it is just a more interesting way. And so if we're talking about writing, something I used to do when I was a kid is Mad Libs. I don't know if anybody has heard of Mad Libs before. It's like, it's a story that's already written, but it's missing words. And it just says like the type of information you need. So at a school I was at 2 weeks ago, the writing topic was write an invitation to a party, give the reason, date, time, and place. And so I could just say, open your books to page 23 and write an invitation. But I thought it was more interesting to make a letter and then just omit the information. It's double-sided. So like, it's like, okay, with a partner A, ask your partner for this information. Give me the first name of a classmate, give me a verbing. And then flip it over, okay, partner B, you can ask partner A for give them a verb, give them a noun. Mind you, this is a lot. You could always shorten it. Again, this is something it takes a little bit of time. You have to go to the print shop. But if you have the time to do this, you will have the structure so you could then do it quicker next time by just changing this, if that makes sense. I'll come back to that. Maybe debates, just having a debate. So teaching students like debate language. To get students involved, you could have them on like slips of paper, write down a comparative or superlative statement, like KFC is better than McDonald's. KFC has the best fried chicken. You could collect the slips and then randomly select one and say, okay, this is our debate. KFC is better than McDonald's. And you could split the class in half and say, okay, the first half, you guys think KFC is better than McDonald's. Oh, team 2, you think McDonald's is better than KFC. And you could have them come up to the board and write their ideas. Also, maybe, I have a lot of text here, but you could just write a couple things like saying an introduction, giving reasons, a conclusion, politely disagreeing, like, I understand, but, or firmly disagreeing. You know, just writing some phrases on the board so that way they could reference it and then you could do a debate that way. One idea. So I have a thing like listening fill in the blank. So again, what I do is I like to do this quite often where I'll pick a song. This one was for Halloween. So it's a weird song. I don't know if any of you heard of it, The Purple People Eater. It's very popular in America. And so how I set up my, like a document, I do it 2 pages and double-sided. So I have 3 columns on the front and then 3 columns on the back. And so that way, when I print it, there's 3 copies, so I can make my money go further. But yeah, if you know, you could pick a song, it could be related to the season. Think about student level, target language or grammar. I think students like listening activities, and if it's a song you like and it's appropriate, I think that is like a fun way to get them into what you like or your culture, you know, wherever you're from. If you want to print things out, you can easily just Google search word searches, crossword puzzles. You don't have to make it, you can just find them. You could probably fit maybe 4 of these on 1 page, so it maximizes how far it goes. You could do it a speed thing where if a student finishes it, they can get like a sticker or something. Even high school students like this. I know it might seem like they wouldn't, but I've done this for high school and they were really like competitive and like trying to finish it. So don't underestimate the power of Google.
Do you have to pay for Mad Libs?
There is an app for Mad Libs that's free. But for this, you can find some free online if you just search Mad Libs theme. But I did make this, so I just took the structure and just called it Mad Libs. But yeah, there is an app. It's free, but it doesn't have too many things. But you could use it on the app on a projector if you wanted to use that. But yeah. Okay, so right now I've been doing like Halloween tongue twisters. So you know, you could write these on the board and then the students have to try to say it fast, try to say it 3 times fast. Something like that. You don't have to use a projector for something like this. Or even if you had it on your phone, you could then, I don't know, hand your phone to the student and they try to read it if you had it that way. Or maybe a student could read it and then another student writes it on the board. So, you know, so even like the student or teacher reads, student writes on the board. And again, this could also then be a board race. You have 4 teams, the first team to write it, you know, just another adaptation of board races. So those are just some ideas I had. Do you guys have anything to add? Like, do any of these seem helpful or any variations you have? Anything you want to see again? Specifically for my teachers who are in like dead zones where you don't have access to technology.
I know a nice activity, but you need your headphones. You can invite 2 students in front of the class. One of them will get the headphones with loud music, and the second one will try to explain the word or even the structure. So yeah, last week we had this activity and all of the classes that were into this activity, they done that.
It sounds kind of tricky.
Yeah, but you know, 17 years old, they love music and having fun.
Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty fun. You have the headphones for them?
Yeah. Like
And
I
hopefully,
have wired and Bluetooth, so sometimes they bring it.
oh, those are cute too. So if you have like really, I don't know, those are really cute. So you can even use that like as a fun thing.
You can bring any, like don't need to professional.
Yeah, I would be so nervous to like, okay, here, put my AirPods in your
No.
ears.
I have the
Yeah.
like the headset.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fun. So something like that is fun. Any other ideas or like anything that you guys find helpful? As what I've, because I'm only one person, so I don't have all the answers. I'm hoping that, are any of these helpful, or do any of you have like a variation of any of these? I feel like board races are probably the best thing to adapt to like many different things. Or if anybody also like for listening, if anybody wants me to send you a template, I could show you a template, and then I use this for many different things. The only bad thing is you then have to find a print shop and then pay for copies. I mean, that is the downside. Okay, no other ideas. If you guys do, let us know. Want to think about resources. So when I was thinking of resources, it was kind of hard for me to think because I just Google search, and so I don't always use specifically one place. Or maybe I'll find something on like Reddit that's interesting. But maybe some websites like ISL Collective is kind of popular. Even British Council, they have all the skills, so that might be helpful. Blogs, I don't really like know a lot of blogs, but this blog I've used a couple times for some ideas. It's, I think, a woman in Spain, and she has some pretty interesting ideas. I think teachers, like, we're a resource. So there is a group chat on Zalo. If you guys are not involved, you can always ask to get in. And then if you just have a question, ask like, do you guys have any activities for this grammar point? Or do you have any speaking activities? Something like that. If you have an AI source, use it. I've been trying to use it lately. I would just be specific. So maybe like if you're using AI, create a 15-minute ESL activity for a classroom of 45 students with only a chalkboard about the present continuous grammar point. So just being specific may not be perfect, but it is a tool you could use. Okay, I saw a game idea. Oh yeah, stop the bus. I mean, stop the bus always works. Name 10 students in a group and write a category. Okay, yeah, like first to 10. Yeah, that's great. Stop the bus. Yeah. Maybe I'll put that. Here. Do you guys have any other references you like to use?
Twinkle.
Oh, sorry, I think my AirPod died. Oh, let me just take this out. Can you guys hear me okay if I talk like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I love using Twinkle.
Yeah, it's like twinkl.com.
Yeah. They have Twinkle. If you pay for Twinkle monthly, they will give you the access to Twinkle Go. And there you can find a lot of like interactive games.
Yeah, that's good. Twinkle. I guess how something said Bamboozle. Wordwall. Yeah. So these would be all with, if you have like, is that wordwall.com? I don't remember. Yeah, those are all good resources too. Yeah. If you have more, just type more. I just have, okay, games to learn. English.
But I think that would be more useful for like secondary school, not for the high school, because it's very easy and the games are too simple.
Okay.
Maybe even primary school, that depends, but not definitely for high school students.
Okay, that's good because I think we do have some like secondary teachers here, and I think that would be helpful. Okay, if you have more, just keep posting them because I just have one more thing. So some teachers put in some questions about different things. So somebody had asked for engaging speaking activities. This would be for high school. And this is something that I like to do sometimes where if you have downtime, I'll make one student will be a wisher and one student will be a genie. But the genie needs to like corrupt the wish. So I'll write down structures on the board like, what can you wish for? What do you wish to be? Where do you wish to go? And so students should think of what they wish for. And then I'll say, okay, student 12, okay, who do you want to be your genie? And then they would say, okay, I want, I don't know, student 10 to be my genie. And so then I'll say, okay, the first student says their wish, like, I wish for a big house. And then the genie has to be creative to corrupt the wish and make it unusable. So for example, granted, but your house will be underwater. So this can be a pretty fun event for students to think of vocabulary and how to, I don't know, make wishes unusable. Another one I'll do is like optimist, pessimist, where like, you know, optimists think of happy things, they think on the bright side, a pessimist doesn't. So I know I have this as a projector, but I would just write this on the board and I'd write down phrases like luckily, fortunately, on the bright side. And under pessimists, unluckily, unfortunately. And then I'll split the class in half and say, okay, team 1 and 2, you guys are going to be optimists. Teams 3 and 4, you're going to be pessimists. And then I have slips of paper. I'll have a student randomly pick one from the optimist side. And then say like, oh, today's my birthday. But then somebody from the pessimist side has to stand up and say, oh, unfortunately, nobody remembered. And I might write it on the board too. Then go back to optimists. Like, oh, fortunately, I bought myself my own gift. And then go back to the pessimist. But it got stolen. So trying to go back and forth, it's a way that you can bounce off of each other and have different types of things. A lot of students tend to like this. It is pretty fun. Another thing, just on my phone, would you rather? So for example, on this list, there's like 320 choices. Like, I don't know. Would you rather be deaf or blind? And then you would have a student pick a number, go to that one, and then try to have them use language to answer which one they would rather. Like, if I have to choose, I'd rather be blind because I want to listen to Taylor Swift or something. I don't know. But trying to give them like language structures and then the choice of randomness by like they pick for the number randomly. And it doesn't need any preparation either. Yeah. Okay, so right now we're at any questions. Some of the main topics people had asked before the training was how to manage cell phone use, tech-free activities for large class sizes, engaging speaking activities,
resources for speaking and listening, games for 15 to 17, and encouraging shy students to speak. Is there anything I didn't cover, or does anybody have any suggestions for any of these, or anything they want to add? Okay, Wendy, you have some questions? Okay, students forget books. That's a common thing. Yeah, if students don't bring books, I just say, you know, sharing is caring. Share with a friend. I also use my projector so I can project the book, but I try not to get too upset. I just say, just share, you know, have a piece of paper, things like that. Students want to be engaged, they sleep. Okay, sleeping students at the back. It goes back to like teacher movement. I run back and forth. So if students are sleeping, I will go run over there, or I'll stare at them, and then like other students will wake them up. You might not have it. Sometimes like if I have a mint or something, like I'll give that student a mint to maybe try to wake them up or something. I don't know. Something I would do. I don't know if anybody else has any ideas about that.
I have.
Yeah.
When I see a sleeping student, well, at least this is something that I would be absolutely okay if I were a student and teacher did this to me. That's why if I see a sleeping student, I ask all the rest of the class just continue. Well, they know this trick that I do, and they keep on answering and doing the activities, but at the same time, they are observing me coming to that student. I take just a little bottle of water, they have water everywhere, and unscrew the cap for like 3, probably 4 drops of water, and I just come to a student and slightly pour it like on the ear or something, where a student could feel that cold water running, and immediately wakes up and starts like answering or whatever, like thinking that he or she is in the classroom. So far that worked. Maybe it's kind of sounds cruel somehow, but that works. Students have fun. At least the situation of boredom goes away for extended period of time.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'd be careful with that, but anything creative. So I might do like, I like to do jump scares sometimes. Maybe some students don't like it, but I'll like literally jump and scare them. Or I have like you know, a handheld fan, and I'll just like fan them so that the air will wake them up. You know, there's it just depends on you. There's different ways. Or like other students will wake them up. Yeah, I saw, okay, so some of your students, they sold their books. Okay, that's kind of crazy. They bring a pillow to class. Yeah, I mean, students will have pillows. I was just like, put your pillow away. I don't know. Like, yeah. But again, if they sell their books, or they don't have their books, I just say work together. I mean, I'm not too strict on that, but I just think, fine, work together. I'm not gonna waste my energy screaming about the books, you know, just, you guys have to 2 to a book, 3 to a book, if that's what it is. It's not ideal, but yeah. And then Wendy said, calling on students who aren't paying attention, maybe repeat what other students say. And again, so for this, like if students are like talking and not paying attention, that's when I would do like mark my triangle of sadness. Like, okay, you guys get a mark, you're not focused. But then if they do, then I would erase. Any other ideas? is like the closing part. Any more suggestions or ideas? Anything helpful or anything you're still concerned about? Did anybody find any of this helpful?
I think I got some interesting activity ideas. Also, by the way, I just want to comment the art that you made for the activities is really nice looking.
Oh, thank you. I actually went to school for art. Mind you, I'm not a working artist, but I wanted to try to show like that you can, I mean, the chalkboard is not ideal, but showing like you can try, you
Yeah,
know.
I think it looks really nice.
I also wanted to like, I want to be a reflection of what the classroom can look like. So, because when we think of chalkboards, I think it's like just not ideal, you know? But thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries.
Anything else? Well, I'm sure we'll send everybody the PDF of this if you need it. And if you ever need extra help, like I'm always around, you could email me. I'm on Zalo. You could message me there. You could always ask your QC at PEC. There's also the group chat. So if you want to be added to it, you can always just add questions because, like I said, you know, individually, we're just one person, but all of us should be able to have enough experience to help each other. So my goal is that we can all communicate together and help each other. That's like my main goal with this like training. All right. Well, I think that's about it. So I really thank you guys for all coming. I hope that you guys have a great day, and Halloween's tomorrow. Do something spooky. And again, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Travis.
Have a great
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, have a great day. Thank you guys. See you guys soon.
Bye.
Alright.
Bye-bye.
See you guys. Bye bye.